tell you every person needs a way of feeling good. Every kitty needs a ball of string and every dog.
Meanwhile, nations like China and India realized that with some changes of their own, they could compete in this new world.
In response to that, President Obama, ooh, it's going to take me a second here. Yeah, China and India got to be innovative because they don't prohibit their people from growing hemp. And you give them most favored status, and then we have to import the hemp from them. That's ridiculous. So you need to change this policy. You can't keep lying to the people. You said you smoked pot as a kid, and now you just keep throwing people in jail over it. Like, with you don't even care about your own people. You talk like you care, but if you really cared, you changed that policy yesterday. And why not today?
So they started educating their children earlier and longer.
And now they want to educate our children longer. I have no respect for what I'm going to call worldly wisdom. And a good example is the drugs that are made by men. A child would read the back of that paper and not take the drugs. The adults are with impunity pushing these down people's throat. Literally, in jail, a lot of people are forced to take medication, and it's a nightmare. These drugs that people put in their head, it's a nightmare. And then you wonder why people go crazy and do the things they do. Well, we're not supposed to take pills. You know, these are things that are actually called sorcery, and they will kill you. They killed my dad. I've watched them kill a lot of people. So when you're talking about education, if it's education for more of doing evil, stupid things and passing them off like this is a good drug, and then you want to say what God said is good is evil, it says woe to you, gentlemen. Woe to you, Mr. Whatever your name is. You're not an American, obviously, because Americans have heart, and they care about things like these that you should be caring about. You want to give us, you want to take care of us, say that you care for us, you can take the chlorine and the fluoride out of the water as well. Thanks.
With greater emphasis on math and science. They're investing in research and new technologies. Just recently, China became the home to the world's largest private solar research facility and the world's fastest computer. So yes, the world has changed. The competition for jobs is real. But this shouldn't discourage us. It should challenge us. Remember, for all the hits we've taken these last few years, for all the naysayers predicting our decline, America still has the largest, most prosperous economy in the world.
I'm not very proud of our economy, and I hope that you Americans will think about what you're doing. You know, what's your legacy? Is our legacy that, yeah, we were those guys that went all around the world and sent our kids to kill and maim and blow people up, and so yeah, we had the best economy because we were making so many bombs and bullets, and then when the kids came back all beat up and tore up, we had to take care of that. And then there's pensions for all those people and pensions for all the federal people. You know, yeah, we got the greatest economy in the world because all the public servants are slopping off your blood, sweat, and tears.
No workers are more productive than ours. No country has more successful companies or grants more patents to inventors and entrepreneurs. We're the home to the world's best colleges and universities, where more students come to study than any place on earth. What's more, we are the first nation to be founded for the sake of an idea. The idea that each of us deserves the chance to shape our own destiny.
Well, that was pretty heavy, Mr. President. You said we could shape our own destiny. I find that pretty hard to do in a war. You know, how can these children that you're so concerned with in this country even think about their destiny when they got to think about hiding from the next bum cop on the corner? And for those that that haven't visited Leep, you know, we don't want to think of y'all as bums, but if you're law enforcement and you're holding up laws that are tyranny, because no law can be made, even though they call these things laws, they're far from that. In fact, the truth be known, it's tyranny what these people in government are doing.
That's why centuries of pioneers and immigrants have risked everything to come here. That's why our students don't just memorize equations, but answer questions like, what do you think of that idea?
Here's a question for you. Mr. Bush, boy, it was back in, I don't know, maybe 2004 or something, maybe before that probably, I guess. He said that he was going to come up with a way to calculate the medical mistakes. And I wonder if you and all these mathematicians maybe can come up with a way to calculate those for us, because we know they're very high, and we would like disclosure to the people what's actually happening. Thank you.
What would you change about the world? What do you want to be when you grow up? The future is ours to win. But to get there, we can't just stand still. As Robert Kennedy told us, the future is not a gift. It is an achievement. Sustaining the American dream has never been about standing pat. It has required each generation to sacrifice and struggle and meet the demands of a new age.
Did you hear what he said? We do need to stand up. And especially for those of you that have been labeled potheads, you need to stand up. And those that are in the closet, you need to come out and let's educate our deceived fellow Americans and explain to them what really is going on in this situation.
And now it's our turn. We know what it takes to compete for the jobs and industries of our time. We need to out-innovate, out-educate, and out-build the rest of the world. We have to make America the best place on earth to do business. We need to take responsibility for our deficit and reform our government. That's how our people will prosper. That's how we'll win the future. And tonight I'd like to talk about how we get there. The first step in winning the future is encouraging American innovation. None of us can predict with certainty what the next big industry will be, or where the new jobs will come from. 30 years ago, we couldn't know that something called the internet would lead to an economic revolution. What we can do, what America does better than anyone else, is spark the creativity and imagination of our people. We're the nation that put cars in driveways and computers in offices. The nation of Edison and the Wright brothers, of Google and Facebook. In America, innovation doesn't just change our lives, it is how we make our living. Our free enterprise system is what drives innovation. But because it's not always profitable for companies to invest in basic research, throughout our history, our government has provided cutting-edge scientists and inventors with the support that they need.
You have allowed basically zero science to be done, any research to be done on the cannabis issue. Why don't you tell the truth? You just can't keep skirting around the issue. We do know what could help our country, and that is we all need to get back to the land and start growing our food. Never before in the history of this country have the American people been so insecure in all their supposed securities. We can't even feed ourselves for a couple of days. This is the land of the people. The people need the land back.
That's what planted the seeds for the internet. That's what helped make possible things like computer chips and GPS. Just think of all the good jobs, from manufacturing to retail, that have come from these breakthroughs. And half a century ago, when the Soviets beat us into space with the launch of a satellite called Sputnik, we had no idea how we would beat them to the moon. The science wasn't even there yet. NASA didn't exist. But after investing in better research and education, we didn't just surpass the Soviets. We unleashed a wave of innovation that created new industries and millions of new jobs. This is our generation's Sputnik moment. 2 years ago, I said that we needed to reach a level of research and development we haven't seen since the height of the space race. And in a few weeks, I will be sending a budget to Congress that helps us meet that goal. We'll invest in biomedical research, information technology, and especially clean energy technology.
About clean air technology, the best thing there would be to quit cutting down our forests and wiping our backsides with downed trees when the hemp is so much more efficient. Look at the numbers. If you're brave enough, they're there. Set it free, sow the seed.
An investment that will strengthen our security, protect our planet, and create countless new jobs for our people. Already we're seeing the promise of renewable energy. Robert and Gary Allen are brothers who run a small Michigan roofing company. After September 11th, they volunteered their best roofers to help repair the Pentagon. But half of their factory went unused, and the recession hit them hard. Today, with the help of a government loan, that empty space is being used to manufacture solar shingles that are being sold all across the country. In Robert's words, we reinvented ourselves. That's what Americans have done for over 200 years. Reinvented ourselves. And to spur on more success stories like the Allen brothers, we've begun to reinvent our energy policy. We're not just handing out money. We're issuing a challenge. We're telling America's scientists and engineers that if they assemble teams of the best minds in their fields and focus on the hardest problems in clean energy, we'll fund the Apollo projects of our time. At the California Institute of Technology, they're developing a way to turn sunlight and water into fuel for our cars. At Oak Ridge National Laboratory, they're using supercomputers to get a lot more power out of our nuclear facilities. With more research and incentives, we can break our dependence on oil with biofuels and become the first country to have 1 million electric vehicles on the road by 2050. We need to get behind this innovation. And to help pay for it, I'm asking Congress to eliminate the billions in taxpayer dollars we currently give to oil companies.
What a thoughtful idea. Saving all that money that we've been giving to the oil companies. How many years have we been giving that to the oil companies? And what about the banks? The banks looked like they were doing okay, you know. Why did we have to take all that money and give it to the banks? You know, who you really playing for?
I don't know if you've noticed, but they're doing just fine on their own. So instead of subsidizing yesterday's energy, let's invest in tomorrow's. Now, clean energy breakthroughs will only translate into clean energy jobs if businesses know there will be a market for what they're selling. So tonight, I challenge you to join me in setting a new goal. By 2035, 80% of America's electricity will come from clean energy sources. Some folks want wind and solar. Others want nuclear, clean coal, and natural gas. To meet this goal, we will need them all. And I urge Democrats and Republicans to work together to make it happen. Maintaining our leadership in research and technology is crucial to America's success. But if we want to win the future, if we want innovation to produce jobs in America and not overseas, then we also have to win the race to educate our kids.
tell you every person needs a way of feeling good.